The large silver ship descended from the clouds without a sound. It hovered over the United Nations building in New York, casting a shadow that stretched across several blocks. People on the streets below stopped and stared up with open mouths. Some took pictures with their phones, while others ran for cover. Inside the UN Security Council chamber, the world's leaders sat in stunned silence. The aliens had given only 6 hours' notice before their arrival. "They're landing on the roof," said General Edwards, looking at his tablet, "just as they requested." Navy Commander Jack Miller stood at attention near the back wall. He had been pulled from his assignment on a nuclear submarine just yesterday. With his short brown hair and steady gaze, he looked calm, but his heart was racing. Next to him, Dr. Lily Rogers adjusted her glasses. As one of the world's top experts in biology, she had studied possible alien life forms for years. Now she would meet one face to face. "Commander Miller, Dr. Rogers," said the Secretary General, "you two will greet our visitor. Remember, the future of Earth may depend on this meeting." Jack nodded. "Yes, sir." 5 minutes later, they stood on the roof as a small hatch opened in the bottom of the alien craft. A ramp extended downward. "Stay calm," Jack whispered to Lily. "You stay calm," she replied with a nervous smile. A tall figure appeared at the top of the ramp. It had pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Its body was thin and graceful, with 4 long arms and 2 legs. The face was almost human-like, with large purple eyes that blinked sideways. "I am Zix Terrell," the alien said in perfect English, walking down the ramp. "Ambassador of the Veltraxian Republic and representative of the Galactic Confederation." Jack stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador. I'm Commander Jack Miller of the United States Navy. And I'm Dr. Lily Rogers, xenobiologist," Lily added, trying to keep her voice steady. Zix Terrell bowed slightly. "It is an honor to finally speak with humans directly. We have watched your world for many cycles." "We have many questions," Jack said. "As do we," the ambassador replied. "But first, I must deliver an urgent message from the Confederation." Inside a private meeting room, Zix Terrell sat across from Jack and Lily. 2 security guards stood by the door, looking uncomfortable. "The Galactic Confederation includes 27 species from across this spiral arm of the galaxy," the ambassador explained. "We have achieved peace and cooperation for over 5,000 Earth years." "That's impressive," Lily said. "Yes, but now we face a threat unlike any before." Zix Terrell's purple eyes darkened. "A danger so great that none of our species can face it." Jack leaned forward. "What kind of danger?" "We call it the Void. It consumes entire star systems. 3 of our colony worlds have already been lost." "And you think we can help?" Lily asked, confused. "Our technology is surely far behind yours." Zix Terrell made a sound like gentle bells. Jack realized it was laughter. "It is not your technology we need, Dr. Rogers. It is something unique to humans." "What's that?" Jack asked. "Your fear response, or rather, how you overcome it." The ambassador placed a small device on the table. It projected a 3D image of a human brain. All 27 species in the Confederation share a similar neurological trait. When faced with certain types of danger, our brains freeze. We become unable to act. "Like a deer in headlights," Lily whispered. "Yes, this response protected our ancestors from predators. But against the Void, it means certain death." Zix Terrell looked at them with what seemed like hope. "Humans are different. You feel fear, yet you can still function. You can even use fear to become stronger." Jack exchanged glances with Lily. "So you came all this way because—" "Because no one in the galaxy can face this danger," Zix Terrell said simply. "So we called in humans." 3 days after meeting Ambassador Zix Terrell, Jack and Lily found themselves on board a Confederation transport ship heading to the stars. The walls seemed to glow with a soft blue light, and the artificial gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth's. I still can't believe I'm in space, Lily said, looking out a round window at the blackness dotted with stars. Jack nodded. The president didn't give us much choice. After the ambassador's visit, Earth's leaders had met in secret. They agreed to send Jack and Lily as representatives to learn more about this threat called the Void. The public was told only that alien contact had been made and talks were ongoing. "We'll be arriving at Nexus soon," said Kree, their four-armed Veltraxian guide. "It is the heart of the Confederation." The ship slowed as they approached a massive space station. It looked like a silver wheel with spokes reaching out from a central hub. Ships of various shapes and sizes moved around it like bees around a hive. "It's beautiful," Lily whispered. "And completely neutral ground," Kree explained. "No single species controls Nexus. That is why the Grand Council meets here." After docking, Jack and Lily were led through wide hallways filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some had multiple limbs like Sixteral. Others floated in the air or moved on many legs. A few looked almost human except for their colored skin or extra eyes. "Try not to stare," Jack whispered to Lily, who was taking mental notes of every species she saw. "I can't help it. This is amazing," she replied. They entered a large circular room with seats arranged in rising tiers. In the center stood a platform with a holographic display. About 50 aliens of various species sat in the seats, their voices creating a strange mix of sounds. A tall figure with gray skin and a head that seemed too large for its body stood as they entered. "The humans have arrived," it announced, and the room fell silent. "I am Vox, leader of the Grand Council," the gray alien said. "Welcome to Nexus." Jack stepped forward. "Thank you for having us. I'm Commander Jack Miller, and this is Dr. Lily Rogers. Please, join us at the center," Vox said, gesturing to the platform. As they walked forward, Lily noticed two aliens watching them closely. One had skin like polished metal and eyes that glowed with green light. The other looked like a cross between a human and a cat, with fur covering its face and pointed ears. "The one with metal skin is a Medoran," Kree whispered. "They are logical beings, almost like living computers. The furry one is a Felorian. They can sense emotions." Once Jack and Lily reached the platform, Vox activated the holographic display. A swirling mass of darkness appeared, with stars being pulled into it. "This is the Void," Vox explained. "It first appeared in the Taurus Sector 1 Earth year ago. Since then, it has consumed 3 star systems and is growing larger." "What exactly is it?" Lily asked. "We do not know," said the Medoran, its voice sounding metallic. "Our sensors cannot penetrate it. Any ship that gets too close never returns." The Felorian spoke next, its voice soft and musical. "But we feel it. When we get near, our minds fill with terror. Our bodies freeze. We cannot think or act." All 27 species in the Confederation share a similar neural pathway, Vox explained. "It evolved as a survival mechanism on our various worlds. But against this threat, it has become our greatest weakness. And humans don't have this pathway," Jack asked. "No," Vox replied. "Your species evolved differently. Your fear triggers action. Fight or flight. You can function even when afraid." Lily looked at the swirling darkness in the hologram. "So you want us to investigate the Void when your people can't?" "We want more than that," Vox said gravely. "We need humans to save the galaxy." Back on Earth, Jack and Lily stood before a room full of military and science leaders. After spending a week on Nexus, they had returned with a request from the Galactic Confederation. Earth needed to send a team of humans to face the Void. "They gave us this," Jack said, placing a small silver cube on the table. It projected a 3D image of a spaceship, the plans for a vessel that can get close to the Void. "And they want us to crew it?" asked General Roberts, his bushy eyebrows raised. "Yes, sir," Jack replied. "The Confederation will provide the technology, but they need humans to operate it. This is an opportunity unlike any in human history, Lily added, not just to save alien civilizations, but to prove humanity's worth in the galaxy. After hours of debate, the decision was made. Earth would send a team of its best people on this mission. Jack and Lily were put in charge of finding them. Their first stop was a military base in Arizona. They watched as a woman with short black hair took down 3 larger men in a training exercise. Sam Martinez, Jack read from his tablet, former Marine, expert in hand-to-hand combat and weapons. Sam wiped sweat from her forehead as Jack and Lily approached. "Commander Miller, I've heard of you," she said with a nod. "What brings Navy to an Army base?" "We need someone who can handle themselves in a fight," Jack replied. "How would you like to see the stars?" Next, they visited a university lab where a man with wild gray hair was writing equations on a glass board. Dr. Alan Wright, Lily explained to Jack, one of the top quantum physicists in the world. When they told him about the mission, Alan's eyes lit up. "You mean I could study an actual space anomaly? Up close?" He dropped his marker. "When do we leave?" Their search continued across the country. In Washington, they recruited Olivia Nelson, a specialist in psychological warfare. In Texas, they found Benjamin Carter, a spacecraft engineer who had designed 3 NASA vessels. "Call me Ben," he said with a friendly smile, shaking their hands. "So I get to work with alien tech. That's wild." In California, they met Grace Kim, an expert in languages and communication systems. And in Florida, they found Frank Delgado, a tactical weapons expert with a calm demeanor. "That makes 6 of us, plus you 2, Lily said as they reviewed their picks. "A small team, but hopefully enough." At a secret facility in Nevada, construction began on the ship using the Confederation's plans. Ben worked closely with alien engineers, often staying up all night to understand their technology. "It's amazing," he told Jack one evening, his eyes red from lack of sleep. "Their power systems are centuries ahead of ours." Meanwhile, Sam trained the team in combat scenarios, and Grace studied the communication systems. Alan spent hours reviewing data on the Void, while Olivia developed strategies for dealing with unknown threats. 3 weeks later, they all stood before their completed ship. It gleamed silver in the desert sun, shaped like a teardrop with smooth curves and no visible seams. "The U.S. Intrepid," Jack announced. "Our home for the next few months." "Looks fancy," Frank said, adjusting his cap. "But will it keep us alive out there?" "That's where you all come in," Lily replied. "The ship is just a tool. It's the people inside who will make the difference." As they boarded for their first system check, Sam nudged Jack. "So, Commander, what exactly is the plan when we find this Void thing?" Jack looked at his team. Each person focused on their tasks with determination. "First, we study it. Then we figure out how to stop it. And if we can't?" Olivia asked quietly. Jack's face turned serious. "Then we make sure it doesn't reach Earth, whatever it takes." The hidden facility in the Nevada desert became the team's home for the next month. Each day, they trained with alien technology that felt both strange and wonderful. "This control panel doesn't make sense," Ben said, staring at the swirling symbols on a screen inside the ship. "There's no clear pattern to it." "That's because it wasn't designed for human hands or minds," said Kittle, the Veltraxian liaison sent by the Confederation to help train them. The blue-skinned alien had 4 arms, but moved with grace despite Earth's gravity. "How do your people use it then?" Ben asked. "We feel the patterns rather than see them," Kittle explained, "but we have modified it to respond to human touch." In another part of the ship, Sam and Frank tested the weapons systems. Instead of bullets or missiles, the ship used energy beams that could be adjusted from a light stun to full destruction power. "Not bad," Frank said after hitting a target dead center. "But the aim is off for humans. The sights must be set for alien eyes." Sam nodded. "We'll need to recalibrate everything." Outside the ship, Lily worked with Alan in a small lab, studying samples of matter that had been exposed to the void. "Look at this," Lily said, pointing to a screen showing the molecular structure of a piece of metal. "The atoms are arranged in a pattern I've never seen before. It's as if they've been reorganized," Alan replied, stroking his beard. "The void doesn't just destroy things. It changes them at a fundamental level." In the communications room, Grace and Olivia learned to use the advanced systems that could translate any known language in the galaxy. "This technology is incredible," Grace said, her fingers dancing over the controls. "It doesn't just translate words. It captures meaning and intent." Olivia looked thoughtful. "Could it help us communicate with the void? If it even communicates at all?" Kittle, who had joined them, made a sound like chimes. "No Confederation species has ever gotten close enough to try." At the end of each day, Jack gathered the team to share what they had learned. During one such meeting, he noticed something interesting. "You know what I've been seeing," he said. "Each of you has found problems with the alien tech because it wasn't made for humans," Ben pointed out. "Exactly," Jack replied. "But instead of giving up, you've all found ways to make it work. You've modified it, improved it, even." Kittle tilted his large head. "This ability to improvise, it fascinates us. Most Confederation species follow established patterns. We perfect what we know. Humans seem to delight in changing things. We call it creativity," Lily said with a smile. Later that night, Lily found Jack staring at the stars outside the facility. "Penny, for your thoughts," she asked. "I was thinking about what makes us different," he replied. "The aliens keep talking about our fear response being unique, but I think it's more than that." Lily nodded. "In my research, I found something interesting. Most of the Confederation species evolved as either top predators or protected herd animals on their homeworlds. And humans. We were prey first. Then we became predators. We know both sides of the equation." Jack considered this. "So we understand fear because we've been afraid, but we've also learned to use it." "Exactly. What they call reckless bravery is really just our evolutionary history. We feel fear deeply, but we've developed tools to push through it." The next morning, Catal announced that the Confederation had detected new movement from the void. "It's time," Jack told his team as they gathered in front of the U.S. Intrepid. "Whatever's out there, we're going to face it. Not because we're fearless, but because we know how to be afraid and act anyway." Sam grinned. "That's what makes us human." "That's what makes us the right choice for this mission," Jack corrected. "Let's show the galaxy what humans can do." The U.S. Intrepid left Earth's orbit with a flash of blue light. Inside the ship, the human crew watched their home planet grow smaller on the view screen until it was just a tiny blue dot among the stars. Jumping to faster than light speed in 30 seconds, Ben announced from the pilot's seat. His hands moved confidently over the controls that had once seemed so strange to him. Kittle stood behind him, all four arms holding onto support rails. "Your adaptation to our technology is remarkable." "Humans are good at learning new things," Ben replied with a grin. The stars on the view screen suddenly stretched into lines of light, and the ship lurched forward. Everyone felt a brief moment of pressure, and then everything was calm again. "We have achieved light jump," Kittle said. "We will reach the Epsilon sector in 6 Earth days." During the journey, the team continued to prepare. Sam ran combat drills, Frank checked the weapons systems, and Alan spent hours studying the data on the void. On the 3rd day, Jack found Olivia in the mess hall staring at her food with a worried expression. "Something on your mind?" he asked, sitting across from her. "Just thinking about what we're facing," she replied. "What if we freeze up like the aliens do when we encounter the void?" "We won't," Jack said firmly. "That's why we're here. But we've never faced anything like this before." Sam, who was sitting nearby, laughed. "I'm more worried about the food than the void. This alien stuff tastes like wet cardboard." Everyone laughed, breaking the tension. Jack noticed that Kittle made a confused sound. "I don't understand," the alien said. "You make jokes about death." "Dark humor," Frank explained. "It helps us deal with scary situations." Kittle's large eyes blinked. "Fascinating. You use humor as a defense against fear." On the 6th day, the ship dropped out of light speed near the edge of the Epsilon sector. On the view screen, they could see normal stars on one side, but on the other side was nothing. Not darkness, but a complete absence of anything, as if that part of space had been erased. "That's the void," Kittle whispered, his blue skin turning pale. His forearms began to tremble. Jack noticed the other alien crew members backing away from the view screen. Their bodies were shaking, and their eyes were wide with terror. "Cull," Lily asked with concern. "Are you okay?" "I cannot." The alien's voice faded as he slumped against the wall. "They're all freezing up," Grace said, looking around at the aliens. "Just like they warned us." Jack turned to his human team. "Looks like it's up to us now. Sam, Frank, take the controls." Sam jumped into the pilot's seat while Frank took weapons. The rest of the team moved to their stations. "I'm picking up something strange," Grace said from the communications panel. "It's not a normal signal. More like pulses of energy." "Can you record it?" Olivia asked, moving to stand beside her. "Already doing it." Suddenly, the ship shook violently. A small piece of the void had broken off and was moving toward them. "Evasive maneuvers," Jack ordered. Sam's hands flew over the controls, and the ship spun away from the approaching darkness. The piece of void followed them, moving faster than they expected. "I can't shake it," Sam called out. "Weapons online," Frank reported. "But I don't know if they'll have any effect." "Hold fire," Olivia said suddenly. "I want to try something." She moved to Grace's station and took over the communication system. She sent out a pattern of signals toward the void fragment. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the fragment stopped chasing them. It hovered in space, pulsing slightly. "It responded," Olivia said, her voice filled with wonder. "It's not mindless destruction. There's something intelligent in there." Jack looked at the frozen form of Kittle, and then back at his human team, each person focused and functioning despite their fear. "Good work, everyone," he said. "We've just made first contact with the void." The U.S. Intrepid returned to Nexus Station with their discovery. The alien crew members had recovered once they were far enough from the void, but the memory of their fear remained. In the Grand Council chamber, Jack and his team presented their findings. The room was packed with representatives from all 27 Confederation species. "We made contact with the void," Jack explained, "or at least a small piece of it." "Impossible," said the Medoran representative, its metallic skin gleaming under the lights. "The void is a natural disaster, not a living thing." "We have proof," Olivia said, stepping forward. She played the recording of the signals they had sent and the responses they had received. Alan added, "We analyzed these patterns. They show too much structure to be random." "There's intelligence there." A murmur ran through the alien crowd. Vox, the Grand Council leader, raised a hand for silence. "If what you say is true, then what exactly is the void?" Vox asked. Lily stepped forward. "We believe the void is a collective intelligence from another dimension." She nodded to Alan, who activated a holographic display. It showed a model of space with multiple layers. "Our universe exists in a specific dimensional plane," Alan explained, keeping his words simple. "The void seems to be a place where our dimension and another overlap. The beings there don't exist as matter like we do. They exist as energy and consciousness." "Are they attacking us?" asked the Felurian representative. "We don't think so," Olivia replied. "Based on their communication patterns, they may not even know they're causing harm. Their presence in our dimension disrupts the normal laws of physics. It's like dropping ink in water. They're not trying to destroy the water, but they change it just by being there." Jack looked around the room. We believe we can communicate with them more clearly. If we can make them understand what they're doing to our universe, they might withdraw. And if they refuse, Vox asked, then we'll need a backup plan, Frank said. But we should try talking first. The council debated for hours. Many didn't believe the void could be communicated with. Others feared any attempt to get closer would lead to disaster. In a small meeting room afterward, Jack's team gathered with Ketal and Vox. The council is divided, Vox said. Many believe the void must be destroyed, not negotiated with. How would you even destroy something like that? Ben asked. The Confederation has weapons that can collapse stars, Ketal explained. Some believe such weapons might affect the void. That could make things worse, Grace argued. If they're intelligent beings, an attack might provoke them. We need to try communication first, Olivia insisted. I've been working on a way to modify our signals to create more complex messages. And I've designed a device that could translate their energy patterns into something we can understand, Alan added. Jack looked at Vox. Give us one chance. Let us try to talk to them before you resort to weapons. Vox was silent for a long moment. Your ability to face the void is remarkable. But your desire to communicate with it, rather than destroy it, is even more surprising. Humans have a saying, Lily said. Understanding is the first step to acceptance. Very well, Vox decided. You have one chance. The Council will prepare the star-collapsing weapons as a last resort, but we will allow you to attempt communication first. As they left the meeting, Sam nudged Jack. Star-collapsing weapons. And I thought our nukes were impressive. Let's hope we don't need to see either in action, Jack replied. That night, as the team prepared their plan, Lily found Alan working late in the lab. Do you really think we can talk to them? She asked. Alan looked up from his calculations. I believe we can try. And that's the most human thing about this mission. Not that we're brave enough to face the void, but that we're curious enough to want to understand it. The U.S. Intrepid approached the largest part of the void ever detected. On the view screen, it looked like a hole in reality, a place where stars and space simply stopped existing. All systems are working, Ben reported from his station. His voice was steady, but his knuckles were white as he gripped the controls. Shields at maximum, Frank added, though I'm not sure what good they'll do against that. Jack looked around at his team. Each person was scared. He could see it in their eyes. But they all remained focused on their tasks. Even Ketal had insisted on joining them, though he stayed in a special chamber designed to block most of the fear response. Remember the plan, Jack said. We'll launch the communication probe first. If that doesn't work, we'll try the shuttle approach. Lily and Alan had spent days building a special probe that could send complex messages to the void. It contained information about their universe, explanation of life forms, and requests for peaceful contact. Probe ready for launch, Alan announced. Send it, Jack ordered. The small probe shot out from the ship and traveled toward the void. For several minutes, everyone watched in silence as it drew closer to the darkness. It's sending the message, Grace confirmed, monitoring the communication system. Signal is strong. The probe reached the edge of the void. For a moment, it hovered there, still transmitting. Then, without warning, it vanished. No response, Olivia said after a long silence. The probe is gone. Jack took a deep breath. Then we moved to Plan B, Ben. Prepare the shuttle. Ben had modified a small shuttle with extra shielding. The plan was for Jack, Lily, and Alan to take it closer to the void than the main ship could safely go. Are you sure about this? Sam asked Jack as he prepared to board the shuttle. No, he admitted, but we need to try. Inside the shuttle, Lily checked the communication device that Alan had built. It was more powerful than the one on the probe, designed to translate the void's energy patterns into something they could understand. Device is ready, she reported. If they're talking, we'll hear them. Ben's voice came over the comm. Shuttle systems all green. Good luck, Commander. The shuttle detached from the Intrepid and moved slowly toward the void. As they got closer, the instruments began to flicker. Shields holding at 80%, Jack said, piloting the craft. How much closer do we need to get? Just a bit more, Alan replied, adjusting the device. We need a stronger signal than the probe had. The shuttle edged closer. Through the viewport, the void seemed to swallow all light. It wasn't black. It was nothing. Shields at 50%, Jack warned. We don't have much time. Almost there, Alan said, his fingers flying over the controls of the device. Just a few more seconds. Suddenly, all the systems on the shuttle shut down. The lights went out, and they were left floating in darkness. Emergency power, Jack called out, flipping switches. Nothing happened. Lily felt a strange sensation, like fingers brushing against her mind. Something's happening, she whispered. The communication device sparked and died with a small puff of smoke. No, Alan cried, trying to restart it. We were so close. Jack looked out the viewport at the void, now even closer. They were being slowly pulled toward it. Main engines dead. Thrusters aren't responding, he reported grimly. We're drifting. On the Intrepid, the team watched with horror as the shuttle was pulled closer to the void. We have to do something, Sam exclaimed. The tractor beam won't reach that far, Frank said, his voice tight with frustration. Grace suddenly straightened in her seat. I'm picking up a new signal. It's different from before. What is it? Olivia asked, moving to her station. Before Grace could answer, the shuttle's emergency lights came back on. Inside, Jack, Lily, and Alan looked at each other in surprise. We have power again, Jack said, quickly checking the systems. But I'm not in control. Something else is moving us. The shuttle began to turn, slowly moving away from the void. It's letting us go, Lily said in wonder. But why? Alan looked at the burned-out communication device. Perhaps we didn't need this after all. Perhaps they found another way to hear us. The shuttle docked safely with the U.S. Intrepid. As Jack, Lily, and Alan stepped back on board, they were met with cheers from the crew. What happened out there? Sam asked, helping Lily with her helmet. We're not sure, Jack replied. Everything shut down, and then something pushed us back. In the ship's medical bay, the team gathered to check on the three who had faced the void up close. The doctor ran her scanner over each of them. Their brainwave patterns show something strange, she reported. There's activity I've never seen before. I felt something touch my mind, Lily said quietly, like it was curious about us. Alan nodded. Me too. It wasn't threatening. It was trying to understand. Jack looked thoughtful. We need to try again, but differently. Our machines failed, but there was still contact. How? Asked Frank. If technology doesn't work, what else is there? Grace had been unusually quiet since their return. Now she spoke up. Music. Everyone turned to look at her. Music, Ben repeated. Yes. Music is mathematical and emotional at the same time. It crosses all cultural boundaries on Earth. Maybe it could cross dimensional ones too. And we know the void responds to patterns. Olivia added, getting excited. Music is full of patterns. They worked through the night. Grace selected music from different cultures on Earth. Everything from classical to tribal drums. Alan added mathematical sequences that represented basic universal constants. Lily suggested adding human brainwave patterns, especially those produced during emotions like joy and wonder. If the void can sense our minds, she explained, maybe it can recognize these emotions. The next day, they approached the void again. This time, the entire ship went closer than before. All crew to safe rooms, Jack ordered. The alien crew members went to shielded chambers to protect them from the fear effect. On the bridge, the human team prepared their new form of communication. They had created a special broadcast that combined music, mathematics, and emotional patterns. Ready? Jack asked. Everyone nodded. Send it, he ordered. Grace activated the broadcast. The strange combination of sounds filled the bridge. Beautiful in some moments, strange, and discordant in others. For several minutes, nothing happened. The void remained unchanged, a tear in the fabric of reality before them. Then, slowly, something began to change. Colors appeared within the void, swirling like an oil slick on water. Patterns formed and reformed, growing more complex. It's responding, Grace whispered. A beam of energy shot out from the void, connecting with the ship. Everyone tensed, but the shields held. Data began flooding into the ship's computers. These are images, Ben said in wonder, looking at his screen. Images of another reality. The view screen filled with strange landscapes and impossible structures. Beings made of light and energy moved through these scenes. They're showing us their home, Lily realized. Their dimension. More data came through, this time in patterns they recognized from their own message. They're copying our mathematical sequences, Alan said, but modifying them. I think they're trying to explain something. Olivia studied the patterns. They didn't know they were hurting us. Their reality naturally bleeds into ours in certain places. They were just existing. Can we ask them to stop? Jack asked. Grace modified their broadcast, adding new patterns that showed the destruction the void caused in their universe. The response came quickly. The void began to shrink, pulling back from the areas it had expanded into. They understand, Lily said. They're withdrawing. Over the next few days, the void retreated from Confederation space. It didn't disappear completely, but moved to empty regions where no star systems existed. When the Intrepid returned to Nexus Station, the Grand Council was waiting. Vox stepped forward as the human team entered the chamber. You have done what no species in the Confederation could do, the Council leader said. You faced the void without freezing in fear, but more importantly, you sought understanding rather than destruction. The Medoran representative spoke next. We prepared weapons to destroy, while you prepared messages to communicate. Perhaps there is more to learn from humans than just courage. Earth is hereby invited to join the Galactic Confederation, Vox announced. As our 28th member species, Jack looked at his team, each person standing tall with pride. They had saved countless lives not through superior firepower or fearlessness, but through humanity's greatest strengths: creativity, compassion, and the desire to understand rather than destroy. We accept, he said simply, and we look forward to learning from you, just as you have learned from us.